One of the problems I had towards the beginning of the film, and this is partially coming from where I have been in my life, is in the movie, there's Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and she's obviously like kind of not happy during school or whatever, and on her way out of class, the class before the teacher says the quote about Jesus, she's walking outwards and she's kind of like obviously not okay, and the teacher asks, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and then goes off, and then later on she comes back to the teacher in the off school campus like, "Actually, I wasn't fine," and starts telling her whole life story. I personally have a problem with that because I have had the grace and been humbled to have been able to help some of my friends with different issues that they've been going through. However, they did not trust me with that until we were actually friends. After a period of time of getting to know them, and it wasn't just so easy to trust with your entire life story where you're struggling with a lot of stuff. Just like, I'm just gonna. I have a problem with that.
She did say that was like her favorite teacher, and that she really did enjoy her class.
Later on, she enjoyed the class.
So you don't know how long she's had that teacher, or
maybe if it was established better, maybe it would have been.
Yeah, exactly. See, we just don't know the depth of these characters very
well.
But
it seemed to indicate that she was not very established going along because she's thinking, what I'm about to say I also had another issue with, but we'll get to that in a minute. She was like, how do you have it all? She didn't even know she was a Christian. Note that if she really had a good relationship with her, she would have known she was a Christian.
There you go. You got
me.
Yeah.
So you're just like, how do you keep it all together? Leading into my next problem.
Jesus.
Exactly. Well, not even how cheesy that was said, but if you ever think that somebody has it all together, then you're lying to yourself. None of us have it completely together. We might have that piece of, the Lord is my help, with him I can do all things, but we all have problems in our lives. Nobody is, you can look at whatever magazine you want, see that person smiling, whatever. They are going through something.
Yeah,
everybody has good and bad days. We're all human. We all have something we're going through. We don't always have it all put together.
Yeah.
Some of us do have Christianity. We have our Lord to help us through it, but we don't have it all put together. And the teacher should have said that would have actually been a good thing to go into, a good lesson to teach. Just like, I don't have it all together by myself. It's Christ who gives me strength through all the hard times, all the good and the bad. That would be good, not just a cheesy Jesus.
Jesus. What were you thinking?
I know that was the weird thing. Is like, if you're gonna set this film somewhere, why would you set it in the South? This would never happen in the South.
No!
It's like 98% Christian.
Like, you can't even be Catholic down there. It's very hard. It's Christian all the time, every day. The scene where she finds her dead brother's Bible, I thought that was really good. I liked that about the movie.
Oh, okay.
It got that last 5 minutes with my brother that I, didn't get.
I just thought it was really random how that actually came. Like, she just was like, let me just randomly give you this Bible.
It's like they're just giving you stuff away and he's disappearing and it's all gone. But
then they took everything else away.
That Bible is there, and that is so true for my great grandmother left a big Bible with all her notes in that too, and it's like, wow, I never knew her at all, but we have that, and that's amazing thing about faith being passed on in family. And I just really liked that idea.
My only problem was how she obtained the Bible. I thought it was really random. They were taking everything out. What made the woman think that she would want the Bible?
It looked like a very personal Bible.
Maybe.
It didn't. I didn't really get that.
It is the South.
It is the South.
Are you sure you want to give away this Bible? That's very loved.
My first thought on that scene, it wasn't a bad scene. I do agree. I didn't mind it. But my first thought was Cinema Sins. Let's see. What did I write down in here? Oh, hidden message in the Bible cliche.
Okay.
Like I said, it was a touching moment. Not my top touching moments, but it was a touching moment. I will say that. So one issue I have with... Actually, no, it's not an issue. One thing that I always want to try and do when I go to a movie is, will I get something out of it? Whether it's I know not every movie has to have a moral to it or anything like that. I mean, for goodness sake, I like Transformers. There are no moral ethics in that thing whatsoever. It's just popcorn candy. And also they're just kind of awful in general, but hey, robots and explosions. But I do like to try and get a tiny slither of something out of it. And this being a Christian movie, I was hoping to get something out of it, like an actual
Yeah.
Christian moral or something out there. I mean, that's what my channel is dedicated to: parables of the film industry, trying to find a Christian moral in something. And the fact that I could not find any Christian moral anything in this movie, it bothered me. I mean, you can use the excuse like, stick to your guns as a Christian and whatever. But even it was just so poorly and weakly done. It didn't make me want to stick to my guns as a Christian. And I assure you, I am one stubborn Christian. I have been through so much of my life. Like, I just stick through it because I know God exists. And this is honestly a really horrible comment, but I found, and hey, I did a video on this, so if you guys want to see it, you can. I found more Christian morals in Friday the 13th than I did in God's Not Dead 1 or 2.
How is Jason Voorhees a comparison to Jesus Christ?
Exactly. but no, seriously, okay, that is funny. I'm sorry, Renee. I'm so sorry, Renee. Yeah, I just found more Christian stuff in Friday the 13th and so many horror movies. I'm a horror buff. I find more like this stuff in these horror movies.
Joe's face.
I mean, meanwhile, Joe is in disbelief. But
I'm just the complete opposite. I don't like horror movies. I'm sorry. Anyway,
it's okay. I like the darker side of things. No, just kidding. But no,
follow the light.
But this is an actual horror thing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. There is a thing in horror movies known as the sin effect. This is a legitimate horror, a thing that came from horror. The sin effect. Wow. If you commit a sin, you die.
Oh.
And yes, a lot of people will go ahead and make the argument like, oh, that's not good because I don't have time to repent. And I'm just like, well, that's an entirely different matter all on its own. But the thing is, when you die, it's not like, oh, you die because you committed a sin and therefore you're evil and stuff like that. No, it is symbolic for when you commit a sin here on earth and you live a complete life of sin and you're totally dismiss God like what we talked about earlier, like we know, like the person knows about God, but you just choose to dismiss him because you're selfish and you just want to live your own life. That is when the consequence of your actions take hold.
And begin, and I see.
Yes, and
So that's an example of how.
Of how I can find a better Christian morals in Friday the 13th than I can in God's Not Dead. And it just saddens me because I'm like, I want these movies to be so good. I really want them to be good, and I just they didn't get me. They didn't help me. And I mean, I'm not having any faith crisis or anything like that, but they just didn't give me anything as a Christian. I didn't look at it and say, wow, that was a really great Christian thing I found in there. No, quite the opposite, ladies and gentlemen.
So I guess what I would like to address is one of the top rated comments on our God's Not Dead 2 reaction trailer was, these people don't seem to be Christians at all. They seem more against Christianity and stuff. Here's the thing. I'm not against Christianity. What I'm against is poor representations of Christian victimhood.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The conservatives criticize liberals all the time. They're like, oh, there's a culture of being offended. I'm offended. I need my safe space. I'm a victim.
Right.
This film is so much like victimhood, and it's just playing the victim card.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Here's the thing: you have to do it correctly because in court cases, and all the court cases they cited, you can put them into two categories. You can put them in either their issues about homosexuality over whether to perform some service for a homosexual person. Then the other issue is over contraception. That's also a legitimate debate to be having.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Over whether you can say the name Jesus in the classroom or not. Every atheist I saw review this movie said the conversation that happened in the movie would have been totally fine. There would have been no issue. It was in a historical context.
Yes.
And here's the thing. I've actually been in classrooms in a high school where I have had teachers who are Christian get on the soapbox and start preaching, and it was thoroughly inappropriate. They shouldn't have done it. One time in my math class, I had a teacher go on a creationism versus evolution rant. And I was like, this is not the time or the place for that.
Right.
And I think the thing is, it's perfectly fine to talk about Jesus in class. Just don't go over the line, just like you wouldn't like it if someone of another religion or an atheist was getting up on the soapbox in class. I think it's important to just stick to places where, there's actual real debate instead of making issues out of non-issues.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in court cases like this in real life that have to do with saying the name Jesus, they win them because it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not really real examples of this sort of thing that was portrayed in the classroom.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I tell you, I think just because of other things that have happened before, like the law, there's no problem with the law, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Other places, like some people might have a problem with this in schools, but it's not normally it's not as big as a problem as they made it out to be, and there are better issues that they could be covering. I completely agree.
Yeah, I was thinking I went into the movie thinking if there was an atheist friend of mine sitting next to me or sitting with me and watching this movie, would there be things that hit them in a certain way, in a good way, or in a relatable way, or something of that sort? And so I was watching it in that kind of mindset, and I really didn't see anything they could have gotten from the movie. If they watched it, if they were of a different religion and watched the movie, no, they can't really get anything from it. Now, I know it was made for the evangelicals and stuff like that, but it wasn't, I'm sorry, it just wasn't realistic.
Right.
For anybody of any mindset. I hate to say this. You guys know I hate to say this. I was I was like this before this started. How do I have a hard time stepping on big movements towards the spreading of Christianity in modern day media. I really have a hard time criticizing it. But
it is what it is.
And, again, and for all of us, there are Christian movies that we like.
Yes, there
Ooh,
really are.
Joan of Arc, 1999.
Yeah.
Woo.
I think we all have the Passion of the Christ to point
absolutely.
to.
Oh yeah.
I love Prince of Egypt.
Ten Commandments.
Ten Commandments, also great.
It's not like you said. It's not that we don't like Christian
No.
content.
The
It's just we
Superman
don't want a
movie.
bad
I'm kidding.
representation.
We don't want a bad representation, and just all the films that happen to be coming out this time of year, we just didn't like them.
Exactly. Yes.
And if you happen to like God's Not Dead 2 or dislike it
Yeah,
for
or tell
any
us
other reason,
why.
tell us in the comments
I found
below.
it really
Yeah.
interesting going online and reading the reviews of people who liked it and why and disliked it and why, because it kind of brings to light different perspectives. And if anybody else got something from the movie, then that's good, and we want to hear about that.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching.
Yes, absolutely.
If you have one
Joe's
more
on
thing to
the-
say.
Joe's on
Oh, that's
the
right.
edge
Joe
of
hasn't
his
given his
seat.
review.
Oh, Joe.
He was the last person.
Okay.
Wait, you
need
got
to prepare.
another one?
Another one?
What? Yeah, look, how dare you trump me?
I look like a... Okay.
Oh well.
I wrote this up after
When you were born till this day.
I like the JMJ.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I approve. I approve.
I wrote this up after I had seen this movie, and it was something I was thinking about doing beforehand, but I really wanted to express why, because I feel like a lot of people, especially after The Young Messiah, did not understand as much as to why I don't like supporting certain Christian movies that, like you said, bad representation of this, that, or the other. So I'm going to try to make this short because there are about 4 or 5 pages here, but I'm going to try to make it brief. So, a lot of the arguments that people put up in the comments is, we should be supporting Christian content that comes out, even if there's some, bad stuff here and there. We should support Christian content and hope that it gets better by nourishing it with support and this or that. Let me just start by summarizing what I want to say with this. We've all heard the phrase, "the truth shall set you free."
Yes.
My question is, what is the point in being set free by truth if you have just as much, if not more, falsehood to chain you right back up again? Okay, that's what I... Oh my gosh! I'm telling you, there's more. There's more.
Oh my gosh! Oh wait, there's more.
There's more.
Can I put out attention to Joe's pen right now?
That is the fattest pen I've ever seen.
That pen.
It's filled with a lot of ink and it's empty now.
Oh my
He needed that big of a pen.
Oh my gosh.
So, we do want to support a movie with good roots, but what gives a movie good roots? I say it's not the intention. Just like the roots of a plant, say we're comparing it to a plant, the intentions of the farmer is not part of the plant. It's not the roots of the plant. It's what puts the seed there in the first place, but it's not what the roots of the plant are. The roots of the plants are part of the plant. In our situation, it would be the core point of the story.
Yes.
That would be the roots of the plant. Okay, that's what that's what we have to look at when we're looking at if this is a film that needs to be supported or if it's a film that does not. So, in this case, like when we're talking about intentions, the farmer may have good intentions when putting the seed down. He may or may not know that the seed is bad. That's the point.
Or will go a certain direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the fruits of that seed will
Right.
produce. Then you
What
can
the
also
gardener
tell
will do.
how many of those fruits that are produced, if they are good fruits or they're, because a tree with bad roots will have many bad fruits. When there is a plant that produces bad fruits, especially when they go against things like truth. Truth then is tightly connected to love, which a lot of people don't understand. But by sinning against truth, you sin against love. You sin against a multitude of things. So it's a big problem, and you have to look at that. Okay, what are the roots? What are the roots? So when I look at movies like The Young Messiah or God's Not Dead, just again answering a little bit of what people tried to get me on in the comments, I see not only what their roots present, but then also along with that, the fruits that come along with that. So not going to talk much about The Young Messiah. We already did a thing where I talked about what the roots of that core were, why they were bad. But in short, it seemed like they didn't have a hard time just being kind of flippant with like, oh, well, whoever God is or what God is, let's just be kind of careless with that. They may have had decent intentions to make an inspirational film, but they forgot the most inspirational part, that is keeping the central character of the film, who he was and how important that was. With God's Not Dead, okay? Not only did I think the script writing needed a little bit of help, but the roots were all wrong. The roots were all wrong. The two goals of a Christian should be A, to grow closer to God yourself. B, to help others to do the same. This movie messed up on both of them, frankly. Sorry, I gotta be blunt. This movie messed up on both of them. It's portraying Christians, as we've already discussed, as these kind of perfect people that have it all together, that are just, that they mostly have it all together, and that, everything's peachy fine and they're really good. One of the things that I saw at the very beginning of this film, when like all the other teachers in that conference room, couldn't wait for classes to be over, but the good Christian teacher like really loved her students. I was like, this is going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
That's one of the indications that I got from that, and that's what ended up happening in the rest of the thing. Too good of Christianity, where we need to recognize when we ourselves need to improve. I'm not sure exactly who, but I think it was Pope Pius V said lukewarm Catholics are the cause of all evils in the world. Lukewarm Christianity, it's the cause of all evils in the world. If you want to actually change the world, reach out to Christians and tell them to actually live as Christ commanded us to. That is how we change the world, okay? Then with bringing others to be as close to Christ as possible, one of the things I heard was some of the people say, we want to send a message to Hollywood. That's what we want to do. We want to send a message to Hollywood. One of the things I was thinking was, why? So that they can laugh in your face, because this is not going to convince them. This is really not going to convince them that Christianity is true. You have to do what I said in the trailer response. Do an Aquinas on them. Give a good logical argument for them, and then go after and say why that's right. Do what you were saying. Take the abortion case, the contraception case. Go after those real life situations and give good arguments for them. That's what you have to do if you want to actually reach out. If you want to actually reach them with a message and not just reach them and have the response be a laugh in your face. So, again, these are some of the reasons, these cores, their intentions may be good. If they are, I can't say for sure, but their intentions might be good. And especially with God's Not Dead, I can understand in a certain way, because there's some kind of, we don't want you to say this about Jesus, even if it's not quite in the courts, and they kind of mess that up. But I can understand a little bit of tension. You still have to do it right. Souls are on the line. It's very important.
It is.
So, what I say, don't support a movie like movies that have bad roots. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. You need to do a kind boycott, because boycott has a very negative, hateful sense to it. But there's a way to do it kindly. You can not support it, but you can give comments as to why, look, I appreciate the good things you did in this movie. But this was wrong, and this is very important. This could be a huge problem for somebody's eternal soul. This is why I'm not supporting this movie. Then, if that tree eventually is like, oh, this thing got so many bad ratings, the next person that comes along, if you want more better Christian content to come along, it's not by nurturing a bad plant. It's by showing that plant was bad. Then, when the next person comes along, they'll say, okay, what worked, what didn't work? Passion of the Christ, that worked because of this, because of that, because of this. Then they go along to these other movies. Oh, God's Not Dead. That didn't work. Why didn't it work? And then they go and make better Christian content in the future.
Yeah,
because
so If we stop giving money to the movie, to that movie, for example, how are they going to make a better one next time without having the money from us? It's like, should we just be more vocal about what should be corrected and
because the thing is,
more outward about it instead of just taking away all their funds so they can't even correct it?
The thing is, if they're getting a certain amount of money and they're getting semi-decent ratings, that they're just going to keep doing the same thing. That's why there's a God's Not Dead 2 that's doing this pretty much the same thing as God's Not Dead 1 did.
I think it's doing worse, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
That's good. So maybe this is...
The amount of people that are supporting it, exactly it. That's what I'm trying to say. The people that are supporting it is less because the first one, but in the actual movie, they're doing pretty much the same thing they did in the first. We're having the same problems that you guys had in the first. So if you keep giving lots of money and semi-decent reviews, the same thing is just going to keep happening. Even if they have good intentions, they're just like, well, this is working, and some people seem to be inspired by this, so I'm just going to kind of keep doing it.
But the second movie actually reveals how people felt about the first one because less people showed up in the theater to watch it in the first place. Probably.
Right. So that's why we need to.
That's why the first one.
That's kind of why we need to.
Then it showed how they actually felt about the first one by the second.
That's kind of why the first ones they didn't go see the second.
That's why we kind of need to continue. We kind of started, but we kind of need to continue.
I think.
So I'm not seeing this kind of Christian movie as a big threat right now because I think the society is showing them what they think.
Yeah, God's Not Dead 2 is not a box office bomb.
They're going to change according to.
It's made back their budget, but they definitely made a lot less than they were expecting. Yeah. So they'll probably really take criticisms to heart. I would hope.
Yeah.
For the eventual God's Not Dead 3 that looks like they're setting up for it.
But the fact, like, if you want Christian content, the fastest way is to show through your ratings and possibly through not going to see it, which some people have already started not going to see it. But you need to show through your ratings that I don't like this because of this. I appreciate the good that that you've done. I appreciate the good you're trying to do, but I can't support this.
I want to remain like an active player in this Christian media, and I personally am going to go see it and tell them what I think and what's bad, what's good about it, be an active player in the improvement of that movie by showing that I am for them, and so I'm going to see it,
That's understandable.
You're for the intent. You understand what they're... Well, no, I know.
After what you just said about intent. I would see the movie because
I would see the movie to rate it and to say what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I supported...
That's what we all need to do.
Well, that's what we did. We went to see the movie so we could see what happened. But that doesn't necessarily mean we might support the people's intentions, but we don't support actually what came out of it because it could have some serious implications that whether they realize it or not, this is the story and we have to be more careful and be the top priority getting right, whether it's who God is, whether it's who atheists are. That's basically the thing with these movies, misrepresenting who God is, misrepresenting who atheists. Portray people as they actually are. Portray the truth and portray logical, reasonable arguments. Right. I understand that, we want to try to put as much goodness. This is my last point, I promise.
Okay.
We want to try and bring as much goodness into Hollywood as we can. We want to try to put as much as we can. But remember what our Lord says about this. He says, "You be either hot or cold. If you are lukewarm, I will spew you out of my mouth." We have to be careful not to be so desperate to put good in there. We also shove bad in there as well, because that's shoving lukewarmness into it. And that's exactly what our Lord hates the very, very most. And if this is again circling all the way back to what we said about not sure if certain Christians really know what Christianity is, it's because they see the lukewarm. It's because they see, and then if they see the lukewarm and are driven away by that, then that's also a problem.
Okay, I'm going to just clear up my point last. I promise, David. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay, if a lot of people go to see the movie, and then a lot of people rated it negatively and have a lot of bad feedback on it, like even though they made a lot of money, if the reviews are down here because of the amount of people
that means they're
that
not going to go
saw
see
it,
the next one, right?
Yeah, or they might fear they won't see the next one, but they'll see that there is a problem with the content. Like lots of people showed up, gave the money to the cause of Christian movies, which is good because they need money. But if they showed a bunch of negative reviews because tons of people went and tons of people had bad reviews of it, they could change the content that way and have money to do it.
But so that would also mean not going to see the next one.
Yeah.
That would also
those people might still go see the next one anyway because they'd be like, did they change it now after our bad reviews of it? That's what I'm doing. I'm like, still bad, not yet. Come on, guys, let's do it. That's why I keep going.
Yeah.
That's why I keep going. That's my point. Okay, I just want to clear it.
I will say this though. I really do truly think that Christianity has reached out to Hollywood though. Why? Because if I'm correct, starting with God's Not Dead 1, they have shown Hollywood that there is a big Christian population to send out movies to, and now we're getting reboots of Ben-Hur. We are getting a Pontius Pilate movie starring Brad Pitt, apparently.
Yeah, and we got Jennifer Garner in the what was it, Miracles from Heaven.
Miracles from Heaven.
No, the tree one.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was
okay, good.
Yeah.
Sean Bean and the Young Messiah.
Queen Latifah.
Yeah, I know. So, if anything,
this one they had Arnie Hudson from the original Ghostbusters.
Oh, really? Wow.
He was the judge.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember.
So anyway, we got Hollywood's
Anyways,
attention.
I'm just thinking of the Blind Me Cow clip. It's Christian!
Yeah. We gotta
be careful not to be that.
No.
Not to see anything just because it's Christian, but there is a market for Christian movies, and I think Hollywood has seen that with all the Christian movies that are coming out.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you for watching. This video probably is going to be our longest one by far.
Oh, okay. Get some popcorn.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
And we'll see you again in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Ned's not dead.
Ned's not dead. He's barely alive after he saw that movie.